It's Wednesday. It's about 1:10. I try to get on about 1 o'clock, um, but it seems like actually by the time I'm finished my second yoga session, it's about 1:10. But that's the time I shoot for, thereabouts. So, as I mentioned, I just finished my second yoga session for the day. This is the one that's a little more involved. I do my first session um, probably about 4:30 in the morning. Um, I got some water boiling. I'm going to make my 1 cup of coffee. And yes, it's instant coffee because I'm way too lazy to go through the process of brewing coffee, even single brew. And you know what? You can get some really good organic instant coffee. Trader Joe's made some really good instant coffee, but they stopped carrying it for a while. Sprouts, if you guys in the States, maybe Canada, but definitely in the States, if you guys have a local Sprouts, they make really good instant coffee. The brand names, Maxwell House, it'll do in a pinch, that kind of stuff. But Sprouts coffee, really good. So as my water's boiling, I have just enough time, about 15 minutes or so. Um, as I don't go directly by the timer of my coffee. Um, I go until I'm done. But my first morning session is basically built around sun salutation. It's my morning prayer. It opens me up. Um, and it really is a salute to the sun, to the coming of the sun, as the sun isn't quite up at that time. And yet I know it's approaching, quickly approaching. So I do 2, 3 rounds. I have a deep squat thrown in the garland pose where you use your elbows to help open up the hips. A little more time in downward dog, and a shoulder stand. And that's forward bend. That's usually about it in the morning, which honestly is enough. You can get by just doing the sun salutation. It is a complete yoga system in and of itself. And you could do it faster for many rounds for an actual workout, if that's what you want to do. You can slow it down and approach it very mindfully. And you can use the Vedic mantras for each aspect of the motion, of the cycle. Every motion, from the forward bend to the backwards lunge, to the plank pose, to the 8-limb pose, to cobra, all of that has a mantra that you can say, which brings it into a sense of meditation, a very mindful flow. Definitely a moving meditation. I know Burpee Yoga Uncle loves to view his meditation his yoga as meditation and motion, which it is, but only when you approach it from his standpoint. If you just do it for, a workout to go through it, then it's a workout. Yeah, it can have some other benefits. It can help you gain a sense of embodiment, which is important, and I might talk about that a little bit later. Gaining that sense of embodiment, solid, that we are opening to the divine here on earth, body-wise. That we are solid as well as spaciousness. I wasn't going to use another word. I wasn't 100% sure that I could pronounce it, so I fought the urge. But that's the sense of embodiment. It's not just being in the body, but recognizing that your body is also spaciousness. It's also space. It's also emptiness. So you can approach your sun salutation, just an exercise. It's a way to stretch, wake up in the morning. Or you can approach it as a sense of embodiment, spiritually unfolding, opening up the energy centers, welcoming that first light, a true sun salutation, a prayer offered to the coming of the day, offered to the rising of the sun, the coming of the light. Choice is always is up to us as much as we have a choice. It's funny we think of that. Of course, I have a choice. But there are so many conditions that we have and that we are that affects what we consider a choice. Who knows where it comes from? I am just wired in a way that makes me want to slow that down and approach it as a prayer. Some people are wired in a way they want to do it as a workout. Both are fine. Both appear to be a choice, but all these preset conditions dating who knows how far back, generations, as these are things that were passed down from great parent, great great grandparent, the grandparent, the parents, to us, all the way back. Who knows how far back? And then there's just the way we're wired in particular. But I'm glad I'm wired to be a little slower, although I do have that push hard and go sense as well. It's been tampered a bit. Tampered? Sorry. I feel words out as we go. For as much sound as for meaning, as much feel as for meaning. So I'm going to mess up. That's how it happens. Milka, being a linguist, is always happy and readily there to assist me when I mess up with a particular word. But it's fun to try them out. Just try. That's how things get started. That's how words got started. Someone came along and said tree. And then this magical sprouting seed coming into branches from a trunk, leaves, all kinds of stuff, became a tree. It's funny because maybe I'll look this up. Anthony DeMello. Anthony DeMello. See if I can find this. He was a Jesuit priest from India. So I believe he was raised a Hindu. He had a Vedic soul. He brought that yogic sense towards his practice as a Jesuit priest, which didn't always keep him in good standing with the Catholic Church. However, he was in the right time, right place, because had he been 500 years earlier, he would have been burned at the stake or imprisoned or who knows what else. Anthony. Let's see. Of course, I spelled Anthony wrong. I just read this morning. Sorry. I should be talking, as that's why I'm here. There we go. I'll read this in a few minutes. This is not going to be a long talk today, actually. I got some meditation, and I have a decision to make about my own yoga career, if I want to take this last step in teaching and the type of teaching I want to do. The program, I've actually been practicing aspects of it for decades, is offered by Deepak Chopra, and it's a deep plunge into yoga. It is not just the asanas, but using the asanas for the purpose that they were given, which is to deepen our ability to sit longer in meditation, as well as gaining that sense of embodiment that we were talking about earlier. So, I'm going to highlight this. Anthony DeMella. Let's read this. Otherwise, I will start talking again about whatever, and I'll never get to it. Or I'll get involved in a conversation with someone about training or diet or burpee specific, which is always a good thing. And I absolutely love when that happens. See, I already got away from the quote. Anthony DeMella. I don't even remember why I was going to read this, why it seems so significant, because it's not the original thing that I was going to talk about. However, I have it up. Without further ado. He starts with a quote from Krishnamurti. I'm sure many, if not all, are familiar with J. Krishnamurti. Modern teacher. Passed away, I believe, in the early 2000s. He said, "The day you teach a child the name of the bird, the child will never see that bird again." Now, Anthony DeMella goes on and says, "How true. The first time the child sees that fluffy, alive, moving object, and you say to him, 'Sparrow,' then tomorrow the child sees another fluffy, moving object similar to it, and he says, 'Oh, sparrows. I've seen sparrows. I'm bored by sparrows.' The magic is gone, just by the labeling. Doesn't have to be. It isn't that way for me. I'm so happy to say. It isn't that way for Milka. When we walk, when we see a deer, when we see a squirrel, when we see a rabbit, when we see a bunny. It's just, I don't want to say it's as if the first time, because that sense of innocence is tarnished a bit. It's not lost, but it's tarnished a bit. But it is still magical. It's never tiresome. It's never, oh, a deer, oh, a squirrel. It's still magical. I love seeing them. I love seeing everything, from butterfly to ant that I do my best to avoid stepping on as I'm walking. All of it. Been fortunate this summer. We've seen a lot of blue heron, green herons. There was a cormorant nesting in the little pond by my house. I've recently seen foxes. I'm on the lookout for a coyote. It's been a little bit since I've seen or heard an owl, but they're there. I'm looking for one every morning. We see hawks fairly frequently, and we've gotten some really great close-up shots of hawks. And all of it's magical. And those are just the big, majestic things that we see. Even the small stuff holds points of wonder. During COVID, when my father was still alive and I confined my walking to a closer area, there were some walks I did just around my neighborhood block, which is just over a quarter mile. I think it's like 0.36, whatever that is. And just by paying attention, you discover a wilderness underfoot, a wilderness on a single blade of grass. Not to mention the wilderness of the body, that we are a collection of microbes, bacteria, all kinds of stuff in our skin, our cells, all of it. It's a wilderness. We're a vast ecosystem completely of our own. Not to mention that we're just connected with the air. It's not separate from us. You show me where your hand leaves off and air begins, or where air leaves off and your hand begins. It's too seamless. Just look at it and you see everything. Again, not to mention that the space of our hand, of the cells, of the molecules, of the atoms, of the particles, there's a universe in between each of those as far as just simple spaciousness is concerned. So how can you label something and not still be mystified by it? I'm not saying to avoid labels, but as you've heard me talk about before, label is not the thing. The finger pointing at the moon is not, why do I keep losing track? I lose track of my own finger. The finger pointing at the moon is not the moon. The map is not the territory. As they say in, help me out here, neuro-linguistic, I got it the second time, programming, NLP for short, and easier by far. One of the tenets, the map is not the territory, or the meal is not the menu. In A Course in Miracles, they say that words are but symbols twice removed. Not the real thing, just a description. There's reality, and then there's the description of reality. And the funny thing is, the odd thing is, that even our description fits in reality. This morning I was reading about the witness state, witness consciousness, how everything fits in the witness consciousness. Everything. Choiceless awareness, again, is how J. Krishnamurti put it. And it's developed through meditation, not developed. We come to see it. We come to find it. It's always present. We are it. As we meditate and as we do yoga and we get that sense of embodiment, we find that witness consciousness ever more readily apparent in everything. And life becomes infinitely easier because we're no longer picking and choosing. Not our experiences, because we're not picking and choosing them now, not so much, but our response to what we're experiencing. Doesn't mean we like everything. Doesn't mean we're not unhappy, but we are witness conscious to our own state of affairs, our own dislike of what's going on, our own passion to what's going on, our own indifference to what's going on. It all fits in witness consciousness. And then miraculously, even witness consciousness disappears to just consciousness. The seer becomes the seen, becomes the scenery. Which is pretty cool. All that leads me, I became a meditation teacher. Very happy with it. I don't pursue things so much as a career, and I should put my information out there. I should be putting up flyers. I should be, because I'm literally passionate about meditating myself. And after 30 years of meditation, 25 plus years of practicing this particular style, primordial sound meditation, it deepened even more. My practice deepened even more as I became a teacher, as I taught others. My own practice grew, which leads me more into teaching yoga as well. But I have my doubts on pursuing anything as a career because I don't know as I have the drive to pursue the teaching. We'll see. It is what it is. Good morning, Lewis. Salute. How are you? I'll be looking for your session coming up as soon as I end this talk, which I'm going to do probably in about 5 minutes or so. I was explaining, I'm about to push the button on continuing my education in yoga. I haven't quite made up my mind if I want to invest that money. My life is pretty set right now. And I can live comfortably for a while, or I can take a chance. I'm not sure I'm ready to take that chance, but we'll see. We never know. We find that on the burpee mat. No rep is guaranteed. And no 99th rep is ever guaranteed. It is what it is. Says he's doing good, thank God. He put 100 in his description, but he did 113. You know what? No doubt. If he say 100, we all know it was 113 because you do 113. So, yeah. What 5 pump again, or was today 113? I'm going to guess you did Navy SEALs today. That's just a guess. We'll see. I could pull it up. Let's see what comes up when I refresh my YouTube page. I see that Eric McCarty is going live. Does that guy ever shut up? He's always going on about something, man. 5 pumps today. I see, this is on my YouTube page. I see Thomas Fahey is doing 100 burpees with rocking chair. You know what? Big salute to you guys that do rocking chair. My body just doesn't bend that way. My body, 40 years of yoga, if not more, actually. And no, my body just doesn't move in a rocking chair manner. Probably not even if I sit in a rocking chair. But the guys that can do it, I don't think anything looks smoother than hitting that rocking chair. And of course, you hear me mention how smooth and precise all of your reps look. Definitely ranking up there. Let's see. I see the Jay Jordan has his jabs going on. Man, I'll tell you what, burpee community, people are always doing something, and it's always impressive. But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be impressive in that, wow, that's impossible to do or whatever. What's impressive is these people are putting their heads down and getting reps every day, some kind of rep. They're doing something. And most of them have full-time jobs. Paul from Oregon is digging graves, working with heavy machinery in the heat. And he comes home, he has chores to do, he's got animals to feed, and yet he grabs the rings or he hits the burpee mat. Just, yeah, some people can do some really incredible stuff, but the most incredible thing of all, putting your head down and getting those reps in day after day after day. It is what it is, says, like you and I have said before, it's all emotion. Exactly. Exactly. Let's see. I see the quite a few people have put up some workouts for the day. Here's one thing I'll have to look at. A 127-year-old yogi's pranayama, which is the breathing routine. So if you're 127 and you're still breathing, you're doing something right. All right, I don't want to get too involved in what's going on in the YouTube burpee community because it sucks me in. I make it a point. The people that inspire me, I stop by. I want to watch. I want to watch what they do. I want to stop by. I want to show some appreciation for what they do and the fact that they're inspiring me. It's easy to become jaded. 58 years old. I've done a lot of shit. I've seen a lot of shit. Some really impressive stuff too. Um, but never once have I ever been gated by the stuff that people do, because it's just incredible what how the body can perform, how the mind can make the body perform in certain ways. That's why I always like to point out, we can't talk about a mind body connection as if it's two different things, mind and body. It's one thing, mind, body. More and more, scientists consider the digestive system being the true command center of the body. The brain's not going to function without the digestive system intact. We can say the brain has its particular function. The mind is found throughout the entire body, and it doesn't stop there. The mind is in the environment. The mind is in the air we breathe. It's in the trees that are cleansing the air that we breathe. That's the amazing thing. That's actually the point of yoga. That's why we do yoga. And when I say we do yoga, I don't necessarily mean it is what it is, in my opinion. He's a yogi. And a yogi is someone that works with God, works with the divine, doing what they do. It means he's an open channel for God's energy to work through him. So, yoga, as I mentioned before, literally means union with the divine. The root word means yoke, yoga and yoke, as in yoking horses to a wagon, oxen to a cart, whatever. And we are yoked, joined with the divine. We do that, again, through opening our body to be a channel, our natural sense of spaciousness, a vessel capacity. And it's filled by the love, by the energy of God, of the universe, however you choose to express it. Some people in my yogic circle, in my non-duality circle, Facebook friends, do not like using the term God. I went to Catholic school, I grew up with the term God. We can say God, and it goes back to what I said about Anthony DeMello. It doesn't have to be the label that you think it is. You can say God in the sense that God is, which is what they do in a Hebrew prayer. They often say, you can just stop. You can say God is and not finish it, because everything is included. Absolutely everything. Nothing is left out. So you don't have to say God is and then have a label. It's also why often in Hebrew they leave out the O, G-D, because they don't want to even have the label on God. They don't want to have the label of the word on God. However you want to approach it, we all have a religion of our own, a spirituality of our own. It can be part of a broader faith that we pull our strength from, but when it comes down to it, it's our faith alone. It's not the faith of a church. Church is an institution. It's not faith given by a priest, given by a pastor. They can inspire our faith, but they don't give it. It's our faith, our connection, our yoga. All right, guys. Thank you, Louis. I appreciate that. And it is with this said, I appreciate this, Eric. And again, I appreciate everything you put out there. The energy and just the support you give the entire community as well. All right. So, as I said, I've got some decisions to make. So I'm going to end the talk shorter today, which is good. I don't always have to keep talking. I know it appears that way, but sometimes we can keep things short, and I'll do that today. Thank you all for joining or watching later. I appreciate it. It is what it is. I appreciate you stopping by as always and joining the conversation. You have a blessed day too, my friend. Take care.